Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope everyone's doing well. Just a quick update as far as the RCF show is concerned. Obviously, we did have a show yesterday, Saturday, today, and we're not going to have a show today either, today, Sunday. There also won't be a show next week, and I can't guarantee we'll have a show the week after that. The reason why there wasn't a show or a show yesterday is everyone was busy. It happens, and we couldn't push out an update to you guys saying yeah, we're not gonna have this uh show today because everyone was busy. We were doing things, so it didn't happen. And then next weekend, uh, next weekend or next week, I guess we're not gonna have a show on Thursday or Saturday. The reason for this is that Mubarak, Jaffer, and Hoos are being forced to attend an event hosted by my family, so they can't be free for a show, and I can't be free for a show either because I have to attend as well. So it won't be a show then, and there might not be a show the week after that either. We'll see. I believe the week after that there is an Islamic conference that we might be going to. So there might not be a show for the next, I guess, 2 weeks after this. But I will put this video out, and then yeah, you guys will have some content. All right. Not that people actually care about history, but it is fun to learn. And there's so many historical figures and stories that are happened throughout history, Islamic history at that, where you can really cover them and hopefully provide some benefit to um, those who hear this or take from this. Or maybe you just talk to someone, you can say, hey, I know a story about so and so. So today we're gonna cover Abdurahman the First. He is the founder of the Emirate of Cordoba, which is, I guess, the Umayyad Spain, is what you would call it. And this is after the Abbasids rose in power and try to kill off all the Umayyads. But we'll get to that. But let's backtrack. So the Umayyad Caliphate, once again, this starts uh, after the split between Muawiyah and Ali, right? And then we have the whole battle of Karbala with Yazid ibn Muawiyah and the Prophet Muhammad's grandson, right? So that happens, and then Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, he becomes the Khalifa, right? So, folks, this is really one of the big, I guess, tiffs that started the split between the Sunni Islam and Shia Islam, but for the larger Muslim Ummah, right? Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, the Umayyads was in charge, and he was Amir al-Mu'minin. He was in charge of the Muslim Empire at the world, the Muslim world. So Muawiyah was in charge, and this is the start of the Umayyad Caliphate, right? The Umayyad Caliphate kind of goes into, I guess, three separate caliphates when you think about it. So Muawiyah, people attribute him with the start of like kings in Islam, right? And it's this whole idea of kingship instead of before it was just khalifas, and they were appointed by the people at Mass, where it was a shura to appoint who was in charge. This is more of a kingship because you'll see that it doesn't go to, okay, who's best qualified or who should be in charge based off of their Islamic aqidah and history and knowledge and all that stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, my son will be in charge, and then his son, and then the nephew. And this is again what they were claiming with Uthman ibn Affan, the third Caliph of Islam, was he chose people that he knew and put them into positions of power over, let's say, over let's say someone who might be more qualified. I'm going to trust this person here because I know them. I grew up with this person, all right? So I will put them in charge because I know that they can do the job for me, and I grew up with them, right? So that was the one of the things they had to say against Uthman ibn Affan, right? So the Umayyads, right? Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan is the first Khalifa. Then you get to Yazid ibn Muawiyah, who is probably the most hated figure in history by Muslims. Not probably, he is, because there's very few. I don't think anyone actually likes Yazid. There are those who don't curse him. There's some scholars who say like we don't curse Yazid ibn Muawiyah, and they can cite the hadith about the first army to like set uh, the first army to travel the seas in the sake of Allah is like forgiven. So Yazid was part of that army, and they have the reasons why. But generally, no one's praising Yazid. Some folks curse him. Obviously, all the Shias believe that he is the worst person to ever live. He is basically like the Dajjal, right? So they hate Yazid, right? Then you have Muawiyah ibn Yazid. So that is Muawiyah's grandson, Muawiyah ibn Yazid ibn Muawiyah. And then after him, right, Muawiyah, Muawiyah ibn Yazid, right? He doesn't have any kids, and so then the Khalifa goes over to his cousin Marwan, and then so you have those three: Muawiyah, Yazid, Muawiyah, right? And then you get to I guess the second, what people call the second Umayyad Caliphate, which is the Marwanid Caliphate. You have Marwan, Abdul Malik, Al Walid, Suleiman, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, which I have to cover one of these days. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, people consider him to be the first Mujaddid of the century. And then after him, it was Umar the second, and then Yazid the second will be in charge after that. He was the one who wanted to follow in the footsteps of Umar ibn Abdulaziz, but then his family was like, hey, listen, like, you're the Khalifa, you are in charge, you are Amir al-Mu'mineen, people can't tell you anything, you can't even really sin. And then he kind of fell for it and started to do wild stuff. Then you have Hisham, El Walid, Yazid the third, I believe, and then Marwan the second. Anyway, yeah. So basically, that's it, right? So you have all those. Anyway, I believe Marwan's the last one because we're about to cover his son Abdurahman ibn Marwan. So finally, after that long introduction, so Abdurrahman the first, right? He is the son of Marwan, as I just mentioned, and what's happening with him is he is alive during the time where the Abbasids are done with the Umayyads. The Umayyads have had such complaints. There was even some reports in history about the Umayyads wouldn't, because the Umayyads conquered land, right? That's what they did. They conquered land. They expanded the empire all the way out, right? So the Umayyads had like this, all the way over here and right here into Spain, right? So they conquered. I believe they had the second biggest empire in Islam after the Ottomans. It might have been even bigger. I don't remember the exact like just size, but they had a massive land, right? So the Umayyads were, their empire was spread far and wide, and they conquered plenty of lands into Africa and to Europe, right? So they did a lot, and because of that, they had a lot of taxes because of, if when you can conquer someone, you have to pay either the jizya, you have to convert, or you face up the sword, right? So that's what happened, right? And so the Umayyads, some of the Umayyad Khalifas were like, yeah, you guys can't convert to Islam because we need your money. So you have to pay us taxes anyway. So we're not going to get less taxes by converting to Islam because we don't believe you're Muslim. So pay us this money, and that's what we're going to need. Because the Umayyads were known for, taking the money from the, what's it called? The Haram? Anyway, where the money is stored for the Muslims, Ummah, the Umayyads would just take money from there whenever they wanted to. Anyway, so the Abbasids and many other folks were angry at the Umayyads for this, because it's kind of their thing. They were just taking money haphazardly whenever they wanted to do it, right? And eventually the Abbasids would come and overthrow them, right? And then so the Abbasids overthrow them. I'm talking about, it's not just like overthrowing. This is like Game of Thrones level or overthrowing, right? They are on a rampage. The Abbasids are going right and killing every man, woman, and child of the Umayyads. So if you were Umayyad blood, right, they're finding you, they're hunting you down, and they're killing you, right? I'm talking about just nonstop, just bloodshed. I'm talking about Muslims killing Muslims. Yes, the Abbasids. Islamic history is, I believe, it was I was watching a video with after Uthman Farouk. Yeah, it was Uthman Farouk, and he said something along the lines of the history is no. He said the religion is a divine. The history is not, right? Because the history is human, right? So when you see, this is what happens in history is, hey, listen, when there's a changing of power, power doesn't change hands amicably. It doesn't just like get passed over, especially when you're overthrowing a power. All right, so there's gonna be bloodshed. So the Umayyads came, right? They were in charge for a while after Karbala and the fitna, and they had to kill Muslims to do that. There was great Sahabi alive who they were killing on either side, And then the Abbasids came and overthrew the Umayyads, who were Muslim. Now, whether or not anyone's the best Muslim is not the point. They were Muslims still at the end of the day, and so they killed them off. And so the Umayyads are being hunted down, right, like livestock cattle, and essentially there's one report of the Abbasids were saying, okay, listen, we're gonna apologize to the Umayyads. We are being too harsh. We were hasty in our action. Let's put this behind us. We're gonna have a banquet feast, right, in your honor, so that we can make amends. We're all Arabs. We're all Muslims. Let's put this behind us, right? So they host this giant banquet, invite everyone to invite every Umayyad to the banquet. Let's put this all behind us, right? We're sorry. You guys have done some bad things in the past, so have we. Let's move on, right? And so, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen? The Umayyads come, like, yes, I'm happy that we can stop being unfair. We can go on with our lives, and at the end of the day, we are all Muslims. And the Umayyads came to this banquet I'm talking about. They were getting slaughtered. The freaking the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones comes to mind, where they come there like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a banquet. They were getting stabbed, beheaded, killed. So the Abbasids hated the Umayyads. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to do a second video on this because that's been too long on the history of the Umayyads and the Abbasids. Anyway, so enter in Abdurahman the First, right? So Abdurahman the First, right? There are some reports where like his father or grandfather said, it was like, hey, I believe that my grandson will do great things. And so he prophesied that, or he had a dream, a dream that his grandson will do great things, right? So Abdurahman the First, as all the maids were at the time, they were in hiding, right? They were on the run. And as we know with the Arabs, they can tell who's who. They knew like the entire lineage because it wasn't like you're not that far off, and they had great memories. So that's what they do, right? So Abdurahman the First, he is hiding out. It's him, his brother Yahya. I don't know if his brother actually is called him his brother. And then it was just like one I guess servant. They were hiding out in Baghdad. So where is Baghdad's like right? Hold on, let me see. Baghdad should be right around here. All right, so they were hiding in Baghdad, right? And essentially, as the story is told, the Abbasids came with their black flags, banners, and they were hunting down again every man, woman, and child. And so Abdurrahman the First, being the son of the Khalifa, he is obviously top of the list. Like hey, listen, but you gotta die. We don't want you to freaking claim power somewhere, right? And taking control. So he's hiding out in Baghdad in the Hudson, right? Okay. And where's the Euphrates at? Game. Where's the Euphrates? The Euphrates is supposed to be right here. Whatever. Anyway, so he's hiding out here, and the Abbasids come, and he's hiding out in this shack with him, his brother, and this one. I believe he was either Greek. Yeah, I believe it was a Greek servant or a slave, whatever. Anyway, so they're hiding out here from the Abbasids, and the Abbasids come, and they're like, all right, it's time now. So they flee into the Euphrates, right, which is this river. And anyway, they flee here into the sea, right? And so they're swimming for their life. And the Abbasids is like, listen, we're not going to chase them into the river with our horses. So they're like, hey, listen, y'all stop swimming, all right? Turn back around. You guys turn around now. Just freaking swim back to shore. I promise you that there will be no harm to you at all. We're gonna take you into the capital, and excuse me, and we're going to just give you guys your just due, and then after that you're free to go. So the Japan's like, all right, no one turn back, keep swimming. We're gonna just keep swimming until we got here. And so Yahya is like, I'm kind of tired, fam. Listen, I'm gonna turn back. All right, I can't swim all that well, and I need to go back to shore because they told me that I'm not gonna be harmed. If you want to keep swimming forever, good for you. All right, but I turning back because I'm tired, and yeah, you have fun. So Yahya turns back around, right? Okay, he swims back to shore, and he gets to shore, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm here, right? And they're like, cool. you made a good choice. We're happy, right? As promised, you were safe. So they got off of their horses and they beheaded him. They beheaded him immediately. I'm talking about whoosh, right? Beheaded his head off, right? So Abdurahman has swam to the other side of the shore at this point in time, turns around, and sees his companion Yahya beheaded, and his body is left there to rot. And so they take his head and hold it up like, "Hey, this would have been you, but you were smart and ran away." And then for the next like 5 to 10 years, Abdurahman will then be fleeing right from Baghdad, right in this area. He would travel through Kufa. He would take like some many just back roads, and he would try to get all the way to modern day Morocco, which would be over here, right? So this is Morocco. So excuse me. The reason why he was trying to go to Morocco is that his mother, right? His mother was um uh a Berber concubine, right? Or she might not have been a concubine. She might have just been a Berber. But anyway, she was Berber, so obviously Abdurrahman the first spoke his mother's tongue fluently, so he could speak fluent Berber, and he wanted to eventually go to Cordoba in Spain, right? So it was like 755 AD is when he would reach to when he reached from Baghdad all the way to modern day Morocco, and so he would do this. He would flee there, and obviously, the the Berbers, right? They were having their own revolts versus I guess the Abbasids. They're like, yeah, we're not gonna just follow you guys. We kind of want to do our own thing, and you see this later on too with the El Mahaz and the El Marabids and stuff, where they're going to revolt against like the Fatimids when they take over Egypt, right? So, Abdurrahman the First, right? He then seeks passage right from Morocco into Spain, and obviously the Europeans have been pushing back against the Muslims for a while now, right? And the kingdom is so far stretched out for the Muslim Empire, you can't be all everywhere at once, right? So Abdurrahman the First, he then gets control over Spain, right? He has to fight off plenty of plenty of the Europeans, and his name becomes very very well known, right? And they respect him as a leader, so he gets in charge. So this is he's done his thing now, right? He's now in charge, and he establishes the Umayyad Emirate of Cordoba, right? So he's in charge now, and you think, okay, yeah, cool. He has taken control over this, and the Abbasids are furious, right? So the Abbasid Khalifa at the time, right, was El Mansur. El Mansur is the new leader of the Abbasid Empire, I guess, or Khalifa. And he's like, we can't be having these Umayyads still alive. The whole point was to kill them all. So we're going to launch an attack onto the Umayyad Empire of Cordoba, or Emirate of Cordoba. And they travel all the way to Spain, and they're fighting Abdurrahman the First. And after a lengthy siege and battle, Abdurrahman the First conquers them, kills all the soldiers, right, or not all, but a good portion of the soldiers, and then sends a ship, right, back to the Abbasid land, right, and there is a treasure box with all the heads of the people that he killed. And then the Abbasids said, okay, yeah, we kind of have to we're gonna have to leave him alone, right? We're gonna leave him alone. So all of Al-Andalus was controlled by Abdurrahman the First at this point in time. And then this is his son, which is, listen, this game's historical accuracy is insane. So this is his son, Muhammad ibn Abdurrahman, and then obviously it goes all the way back to Abdurrahman. It goes all the way back to Abdurrahman ibn Muawiyah, and then you go Ibn Hisham ibn Malik ibn Marwan. So that is the story of him. And he is obviously Qurayshi, because that's his dad was. And then after Muhammad ibn Abdurrahman, it'll be Abdurrahman ibn Muhammad ibn Abdurrahman. So it'll be Abdurrahman the second. Then you have Abdurrahman the third. But yeah, so the Umayyad dynasty would then live on for another, like, I think 5. It was like 8. It was like freaking 760 AD to like 1200 AD. So they would live on for a much long time. And the advancements and achievements of Muslim Spain it almost rivaled the Abbasids in terms of like culture, influence, knowledge, and they had just a massive impact just on the world to this day. So it's crazy because this man had to do so much just to flee. He saw his best friend basically die in front of him, but then later went on to go and do great things. So that is a quick tale of Abdurrahman the First. Obviously, you can get into much more detail if you have time, and if you want to look into more. I believe history or the Europeans call him Abd el Rahman, Abdal Rahman. But we know him as Abdurrahman the First, because that's how the Arabic would be, and so that is the story of Abdurrahman the First. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.